All right. Um, First and foremost, it's a pleasure to be here. As he mentioned, well, let me back up. It's really hard to stand up in front of people and talk. Okay, so pat yourself on the back. It's not easy, especially when things get out of order, different things like that. Good job. All right, and you'll hear it tonight in some of the things I talk about. Doing hard things is a good thing. Okay, doing things that are outside of your wheelhouse is a good thing, and uh, and you someday you get to the point where you're like me and talking in front of people is no big deal. Okay, hopefully that's for all of you guys. Okay, but I am excited, as the bio said. I was a big part of JAG. I was the OG back in the day when JAG started in 2013 with 25 programs across the state. I was one of the original ones in Stafford, Kansas. I still lived in Haviland, drove to Stafford every day. Actually drove right past Belpre and whatnot, and always was like, "Oh, Larned's up there. That's cool. Why doesn't Larned have a program?" And so then later on, I started the Kiowa County program, which is more in where I'm from, and became a regional manager. Then we had Great Bend, we had Kiowa County, we had Stafford, and I remember saying, then I would drive through Larned to get to Great Bend, and I'd be like, why does Larned not have a program? And I kept on saying that. And so then one day they said, hey, Larned wants a program. And I was like, about time. I had 4 or 5 interviews. I forget how many it was. And I was able to just to tie you guys together with everyone that's here in the audience today. There was only one person for the job in the 5 people I interviewed, and that was Israel. And so I actually hired him, and so he's become a friend of mine. I'm proud of what he has done. I'm proud of where the Larned program has gone. I do pay attention still, even though I'm not directly involved with JAG anymore. And so I'm really excited to be here tonight. And when he sent me a message and said, hey, I was kind of curious if you, I don't even know if I finished reading the whole thing. I just responded with absolutely. Like, I, I will come. When is it? Tomorrow? Tonight? Like, what? How quick do I need to be there? I just need to take a shower. And he's like, oh, no, it's not for a while. So I'm excited to be here. So what I want to talk to you about, one of the things that the bio said was, I am passionate about kids being the best version of themselves, okay, and reaching the goals, some of which you don't even know you have, okay. You don't even know the goals you have yet, okay. You have goals, don't get me wrong, but where you're going to get in life, you don't even know yet, okay. You're still growing, you're still working. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is I want you to get this phrase into your head. I want you to learn to be better on purpose. Okay? I don't want you to get better. I want you to be better on purpose. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You ever met somebody who's allergic to effort? Like if it's hard, if it's something that's got to do something, or it's got to work hard, or got to show up early or stay late, they're like, I don't know, I don't really want to and whatnot. But yet at the end of the day, they do expect things that are just going to come to them, right? Okay. I was telling Miss Hagerman, actually, I said, one of the great things about being a guest speaker is I may never see any of you again. Okay. I mean, I'm hoping I see Israel and Miss Hagerman again over the years. Okay. But there's a chance you as kids, I may never see you again. So I get to be as blunt as I want to be. Okay. And, um, when you talk about being better on purpose, and when you talk about being lazy, when you talk about the different things that you allow yourself to do, okay, you can't expect good things if you don't put in good work. Okay. So what do I mean by that? So I was a coach, like they talked about. I was a coach for all the way from junior high kids all the way up to college. And I've coached junior high girls and boys basketball. I've coached high school track, baseball, girls and boys basketball, all the way up into college. I coached men's and women's basketball. I've coached baseball. I've coached cross country. I've coached softball. Lots of coaching. Okay, lots of coaching. And you know all coaches. I mean, I shouldn't say you all know coaches, but those of you who are involved in sports, coaches, we have our silly sayings, right? We have our, like, what was the war cry? What is it? Okay, what's it say? What are the words? Made to fly, not fail. Yeah, made to fly, not fail. Okay, that's a mantra. Okay, that's what's called a mantra. I had mantras as I was coaching. And so I just want to talk about a couple of those in regards to being better. How? Being better how? On purpose. Okay, remember that. Better on purpose. Okay. One of the mantras I had was embrace the struggle. Okay. Every year when I started a new season and whatnot, especially here at the end, I kind of coached more for fun and did junior high stuff and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of some of the most fun I've ever had was coaching junior high. And you get those sixth graders in and they're brain dead. They don't know what's going on. They are struggling with life to learn anything, right? But I used to tell them all the time, man, you got to embrace this. Okay. Embrace the struggle. You're not going to be good today. Okay. The goal is that you're good by the time you're a senior in high school. Okay. That's 6 years from now. Okay. Today, I need you to be better at the end than you were when you walked in here. Okay. And in order to do that, you've got to embrace the struggle. There's a lot of things when you start, it seems heavy. The lift seems heavy. Okay. The ask seems heavy. The effort seems like it's like, oh my goodness, that's a ton of effort and I'm not seeing much. Okay. And maybe it's in your school. Maybe it's with your schoolwork. Maybe it's at your house. Okay. I'm not going to claim to know everything about all your guys' situations. Okay. A lot of times the heavy lift is in your own head. It's in your own head. It's the things you think about. Not necessarily do you think about bad things or evil things or whatnot. You think about the wrong things, specifically about yourself. Okay? Sometimes we are the worst critic. No one's a bigger critic a lot of times than us. Okay? And the other thing is no one's a bigger critic, or not even a critic. No one's a bigger defender of ourselves when we shouldn't be defended. Okay? I'll go back to the part about how many of you guys know the people who make excuses about every time something gets hard. And then they make excuses why, well, I don't want to show up. I had a this last night, or I didn't get to go to bed till whatever last night. They don't tell you they're playing Minecraft or Fortnite or whatever until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, they don't tell you that part. They just tell you, oh, I couldn't sleep last night. Oh, that's why I didn't show up. Right? That's a heavy lift. Show up anyway. Show up anyway. One of the things I used to embrace the struggle with was I was talking with Barkley College is just down the road. It's in Haviland, Kansas. That's where I did a lot of my college coaching. And we were getting ready to play Fort Hays State, actually. Okay, so Barkley College has 300 students in it, and we don't give athletic scholarships. And we were going to Fort Hays State to get murdered, okay? And I knew that was coming. We were playing them just to get money, okay, to help pay for our new uniforms or stuff like that, okay? But I talked to them about, hey, here's the deal. We can go in there and we can make excuses. We can sit there and go, oh, well, we're going to get beat and this is what's going to happen. And then we can go lay down and just go collect our paycheck and go home, or we can learn some things about ourselves. Funny story. That night, we played Fort Hays State. With 11 minutes to go in the first half, 20-minute halves, with 11 minutes to go, we were winning 9-8. We came out with our hair on fire, and we were just kicking butt, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, man, yes, that's what I'm talking about. We met the challenge. We did whatever, okay? Final at halftime, their coach called timeout. He's just laying into him, saying things that I can never say at Barkley College, is a Christian school, okay? And he's just laying into him. There's like 12 people there because nobody knows who Barkley College is. And you can hear him, and he is just laying into them. Right? You're not even taking them serious. Da, 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 da. They're tougher than you. They're da, 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 da. All these different things. And I'm going, yeah, That's right. We are tougher than them. And I started to believe my own stuff. I started lying to myself because I knew what was coming. It just hadn't happened yet. Okay? He finally got their attention, the 9-8, right? We were winning 9-8. Halftime. We went into halftime down 51-12. Okay? 44-3. Okay? And I walked in there and my guys were jacked. They were like, did you hear him going off on his team? Because they knew, they were realistic enough to know this was going to be a struggle. But we got better in that first 9 minutes and it carried over all year. And it was a small thing. That's what I'm talking about. Embrace the struggle. Next one. Don't be capable, be willing. Okay? I've seen so many people in my time that are capable of doing things. They're capable of getting good grades. They're capable of being a good friend. They're capable of being a good sibling. That means brother or sister. Okay? They're capable of doing all kinds of stuff, but the problem is they're not willing to do anything. I don't care about capable. Capable doesn't do anything for you. This world that we live in, a lot of times it's giving out participation trophies. Man, I'll be honest with you. You get outside of a school system, those participation trophies quit. They end. Ask the adults in here. When you show up at work every day, do they sit there and hand you a medal and say, hey, really proud of you today for getting there. Really proud that you showed up today. Okay? They don't. And they don't care about your feelings, and they don't care about whether you played Fortnite till 4 o'clock in the morning, and they don't care about anything except for, were you there on time? Did you do what you were supposed to do? And did you not make the company look bad? And that's it. There might be a few other things they care about, okay? And once again, I told you I was going to be blunt, okay? Start doing those things now. Those little things about showing up whether you want to or not. Okay? Be willing to show up whether you want to or not. Be willing to be a good friend whether you want to or not. Be willing to put in the time to do your homework whether you want to or not. Be willing to come up and speak up here whether you want to or not. Embrace that struggle of coming up here and speaking whether you wanted to or not. Okay? Because the harder things you do, guess what? Your hard gets easier. I don't know who said it, but it's a great line. The more you do hard things, harder gets easier. All right? Embrace the struggle, do hard things, and be capable of doing hard things and capable of doing the hard things, okay? Because you're willing to do them. Third mantra. Be humble. But being humble is a good thing, okay? And I want to tell you, I think a lot of people get humble mixed with like beating yourself up for the enjoyment of others, where you got to be less. I got to shrink to be less so that others can be more. That's not what humble is, okay? That's not humility, okay? That's insecurity pretending to be humble, all right? Real humility and real humbleness is the confidence to know I don't have to prove something to somebody every day. I'm just willing to live my life the way it needs to be led or lived, and willing to do the things that need to be done every day, all the small things, the embracing those struggles, okay? Being willing to do whether or not anyone's praising me or not. Because once again, ask the adults in this room. At some point, the praising ends, okay? And then there's a real expectation that you're going to get the job done, okay? The next thing is, I do want you to be hungry, okay? You should want to be better. How? Say it. You said it right there in yellow. Say it nice and loud. Better what? On purpose, okay? Not just to be better. And I want you to get that. Not just to be better. You can want to be better, right? And if you don't do one freaking thing about that, Are you going to be better? No. You have to want to be better on purpose, which means you have to be hungry. You have to sit down and start thinking about, what do you want in your life? Do you want the same friends in your life? Because guess what? You might have to be willing to cut some people off. And nobody tells kids this nowadays. You are in charge of you. You are in charge of your life. You are in charge of where you're going, not your parents. Well, don't get me wrong, parents, stop. Yeah, all the parents just went, whoa, dude. Okay, I'm not counteracting the parents. What I'm saying is they're going to lead you and whatnot, but guess what? They can scream and yell at you until you're blue in the face. I have kids. I have screamed and yelled at my kids until they're blue in the face. Guess what? You know what happened? You know when they finally changed? When they chose to change. It is a you problem. Okay? It's not your teachers are doing this to you. My parents are doing this to you. The world's out to get me. Life's unfair, da-da-da-da-da. Get that out of your head. Life's not fair. It ain't ever going to be. Get that out of your head. Okay? You be hungry enough to make the changes in your life that you need to make. To listen to people and what they're saying to listen here. I'll redeem myself, parents. To listen to what your parents say and go, you know what, that's spot on the money. What they just said is spot on the money. And I need to stop fighting them and start listening and start learning. And that leads to this next one, be honest. And here's the deal. I'm not talking about being honest with your taxes. I mean, that's important too. I'm not talking about being honest with your grades and the things that you do in this chat GPT wrote my paper world that we live in. Okay, right? Okay. I'm not talking about that type of honesty. I'm talking about the type of honesty at 4:00 in the morning when you go down to when you lay your head down after playing Fortnite all day and you know you have to be somewhere at 7:00 in the morning. The type of honesty that looks the person in the mirror and says, yeah, if I don't get up in the morning, that's a me problem. That's a me problem. That's not Fortnite's problem. That's not the people who made Fortnite's problem. That's not my friends who kept on telling me to play one more game and whatnot. That's a me problem. And the person you need to be honest with every single day is the person you look at in the mirror. I cannot emphasize that enough. You can fool your parents. You can fool Mr. Hagerman. You can fool your teachers. You can fool all kinds of people. You cannot fool yourself. You can't run away from your own shadow. Okay? You cannot. I told Israel, I told Ms. Hagerman today, I said, they're going to get blunt. And here's why you're getting blunt. Because I watch the world that we live in right now, okay? And I watch just people make excuses for the stupid things that they do over. And I'm not just talking about kids. I'm talking about everyone, okay? Our climate in this country right now is who can say and do the stupidest thing and make up some reason why it's okay for them to act that way, okay? And I'll be honest with you, you guys have a bad rep sometimes as always being on your phone and always wanting likes. And we can talk about that too. I got a whole different thought about all that, okay? We can talk about all that too, right? But I will tell you right now, it's going to take the next group coming up, and that's you. And we need you. Big time. Because I'll tell you right now, my generation is screwing this up by being in our feelings and sitting there blaming everyone else and their grandma about why something's not right and this doesn't work. And I don't even really care if, Israel, you're right about something. But the thing is you and I don't get along. And so since you're right about something, you're still wrong. And I'm going to convince myself that you're wrong. But you know what? At the end of the day, you know who I can't convince that Israel's wrong? Myself when I look myself in the mirror. Especially if I know he was right. Be honest with yourself. Grace says, the term grace says I'm not perfect. Okay? And you're not. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. Okay? But honesty says, but I am responsible. I am responsible for where grace has let me down. and where I haven't been perfect. And I am responsible to say sorry. I am responsible if it's bad enough to change. I am responsible to take the reins and make something better of my life, okay? And so tonight, I'm not talking about talent. I'm not talking about luck, okay? I'm talking about you living better on, say it, please. What? Purpose. Living better on purpose. I want to close with this. Every day you're building something, your habits, your mindset, your reputation, okay? And man, guard your reputation. Oh my goodness. It is so hard to get back if you blow it up, okay? It doesn't mean you can't, but it's going to be work. Guard your reputation. All right? But you're not going to build habits. You're not going to build a mindset, and you're not going to protect your reputation on accident. It's not just you're getting better isn't going to be a viral thing where just one day you do one thing and everyone goes, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Hager is the greatest," and then his life's perfect for the rest of the life. Okay, that's not how it works. Okay, it's not on accident. It's on purpose. You can waste your energy complaining about what's hard, or you can invest in doing hard things. I don't know if I need this, but here we go. But you can invest in doing hard things. Better doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Tomorrow morning, here's my call to action. They always say you got to have a call to action. I don't know. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, before you grab your phone, before you start scrolling, ask one question. Go in the mirror and ask this question. What would it look like to get better on purpose today? What would it look like to get better? I don't want you to stop there. I don't want you to stop with get better. Getting better says there's some type of accident that could happen that could lead to it. Getting better says that somebody else is going to do it for you, okay? What can you look in the mirror tomorrow morning and say, how can I get better on purpose? But don't end there and go do it. Go do it. If getting better on purpose tomorrow, there's a really good thing on YouTube about, it's some guy in the military, I think he's in the Navy, that he says, if you want to change your life, make your bed. The whole point of that is the first thing you do in the morning should be disciplined enough to take care of the area that you just woke up from. And not just get up and roll out of bed and go, oh man, 4 o'clock, man, Fortnite was crazy last night. You just roll in, your bed's a mess, okay? Go do it. And if that's what it is, if it's making your bed, if that's the first thing you can do to be better on purpose, do that. Amen. Tear it up. One day, you guys are going to look back at your life and realize that you didn't drift your way there. For good or bad. You didn't just drift there. You actively participated in where you got to. And it's no one's fault but yours. I'm not saying you don't have bad crap in your life, man. Everyone's got bad crap in their life. I've got bad crap in their life. To be honest with you, one of the biggest problems that holds us back as an entire society is we don't admit to each other that we have bad crap in our life. Okay, we sit there and look on Facebook and go, oh man, look at that person. They're perfect. They have a perfect life. No, they don't. Their life sucks just like yours does. Okay? All right? Stop looking at other people thinking they've got it. They're just doing a really good job of hiding it. And you know how I know that? When you put something on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, is it the bad stuff? Nope. Because if you did, people would be like, what in the world? But you know what? If we did, if we all did, and if we were all honest with each other, you know what? It'd be a lot better for all of us. Because then we could all put down the charade that we've all got it, that this person's got it together and this person's got it together. No, what? They don't. You're all getting through life, and you got to get better on purpose. Okay? And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Get better. There you go.